All right, good morning, everyone. We're moving on to the final lesson of Chapter 1, Grade 7, Lesson 1-10, Solve Problems with Rational Numbers. So here I have a negative 3 divided by 4 and 1/2. I know my answer in the end is going to be negative because one's negative and one's positive. So let's rewrite this so it's a little easier to see. So negative 3 is the same thing as negative 3 over 1 divided by 4 and 1/2. Oh, that's the same as 9 over 2 because 2 times 4, the denominator, we can multiply by the number. We multiply these two, and then we add it with the top, the numerator. So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 1, that is 9, okay? So negative 3 over 1 divided by 9 over 2. So now we are going to, remember, instead of dividing, we want to keep and then multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to keep the first fraction the exact same and then multiply by the flip or reciprocal. So keep negative 3 over 1. Flip the division or multiply. Same thing, we're going to multiply. And then the reciprocal, which means flip the 9 over 2. That is 2 over 9. So dividing is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal or the flip of the second fraction. Okay, let's get our answer now. It's negative 3 times 2. That is negative 6. 9 times 1, or 1 times 9, that is negative 6 over 9. And let's simplify to the furthest possible ability. So divide them both by 3, the numerator and denominator. So negative 6 over 9 is equivalent to negative 2/3. And the answer, the answer will stay negative because at the beginning of the question, I had a negative divided by a positive up here, which means the answer is going to be a negative. When they're opposite signs for multiplying or dividing, the answer stays negative. If they're the same sign, the answer turns positive. So my answer after dividing is negative 2/3. Okay. Example 2. Kevin played a trivia game. Each correct answer is worth 2 1/4 points, and each incorrect answer is worth negative 1/2 point. What was Kevin's score? So it looks like Kevin got half of them right and half of them wrong. He got 15 correct and 15 incorrect. So the correct questions were worth more points than the incorrect, so that's good. He's going to have a positive score. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to see how many points were added to his score and how many points were taken away. So first, I'm going to put a check mark here. This is going to be the correct side, so how many points he got for being correct. And then we're going to have the red side, which will be all his incorrect questions. Okay, so for his correct questions, he gets 2 1/4 points, 2 1/4 for each question right. And there's 15 questions, okay? So I need to multiply 2 1/4 times 15. Now, let's do that. 2 1/4 is the same as 9 over 2. Sorry, 2 1/4 is the same as 9 over 4 because 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. So 9 over 4 times 15 over 1. So this is how many positive points he received. And let's see, 9 times 15, that's 135. And 135, 4 times 1 is 4, so 135 over 4. And just to save us time, 4 goes into 135 how many times? 33 times. And then there's 3 left over out of 4. So he gets 33 3/4 points for all his correct answers. 33 3/4. Now, we do all his incorrect answers. Let's change colors. Let's go to black. Okay. So he got 15 questions wrong, and each one he loses half a point, which is the same as negative 1/2. So I just need to do negative 1/2 times 15 to see how many points he lost. So let's do negative 1 times 15. Okay, that should be negative 15. 2 times 1, that's 2. So let's just simplify this. So 2 fits into 15 7 times. So that's, and keep the negative sign, so it's negative 7, and there's 1 remaining. So negative 7.5. So he lost 7.5 points, and he gained 33 3/4 points, which is a pretty big difference. So now we just have to combine our points together. So we take our positive points, 33 3/4, and then we take the points he lost minus 7.5. So 33 3/4 points he gained or went positive, and then he lost 7.5 points. So if we subtract them, I'm running out of space, but 33 minus, no, let's choose a different color. 33 minus 7, this is 26. Here, let's cut it off down here. Hold on one sec, just so nobody gets confused. So we get 26, okay? And then 3/4 minus 1/2, that's the same thing as 3/4 minus 2/4. There's 1/4 remaining, and the answer is positive because he got a lot more positive points. So my final answer for that one is 26 and 1/4. And because even though you got the same amount of questions right and wrong, they weren't the same amount of points each. The correct answers were worth more points. That's why he received a positive score. And last but not least, example 3. The temperature at 4 p.m. was 2.5 degrees Fahrenheit. It dropped 0.75 degrees Fahrenheit each hour for the next 4 hours. What was the temperature at 8 p.m.? Okay, so we're going to ignore for now the temperature at 4 p.m. and we're going to ignore that 2.5. I want to see how much the temperature dropped between 4 and 8 p.m., those 4 hours, and then we're going to take back the original temperature at the end. So first, let's see. The temperature went down for 4 straight hours, and it went down by 0.75 per hour. So we could either make that into a fraction, or we could just write it as, by the way, if it's dropping, the keyword is drop, that's a negative number because it's going down. So I like to put a negative 0.75 because it's dropping. That means it's getting colder. So negative 0.75 over 1, and it's going down for the next 4 hours. So I know the temperature is decreasing for the next 4 hours. So let's see how much the temperature decreased in that 4-hour span. This isn't what the final temperature is, but it's going to tell us how much it went down by. Negative 0.75 times 4. It's the same thing as 4 times negative 3/4, which negative 0.75, if you did it on the side, times 4, that is negative, because 1 positive and 1 negative make a negative. That is negative 3. And 1 times 1 is is positive 1. So this means the temperature went down by 3 degrees. It went down by, this is the degree sign, the little circle. So negative 3 means the temperature went down by 3 degrees. It's the same thing as negative 3. So here we go. The temperature originally was 2.5 degrees or 2.5 degrees. Then, after 4 hours passed, it went down by a little each time. It went down by 3 degrees. So 2.5 minus 3, well, I know 2.5 minus 2.5 is 0. And then there's 0.5 left over. So the temperature at 8 p.m., it went under 0 degrees. It was freezing out. It was negative 0.5 degrees at 8 p.m. Because 2.5 minus 3, that is negative 0.5. Hope this helps.